about the King's coronation. We hear a lot about it. Harry and Meghan, will they or won't they attend? I'm hoping they don't. Not as a journalist, because if they do attend, it'll be a great story. But as a citizen of this country and a subject of King Charles, I hope for Charlie's sake they don't attend, because that will turn it into a media circus, and that's the last thing you want. It will overshadow the King on his very special day. But rudely, one might think they haven't told anyone whether or not they're coming yet. But more to the point, Daily Mirror today, front page. Coronation chaos fear. I'll read you the intro on the story, the introductory paragraph. It's by Russell Myers, excellent royal editor. It says, the King's coronation has been plunged into turmoil by a catalogue of late problems. Issues include an overrunning rehearsal, an unfinished seating plan due to Prince Harry dithering on the invite, etc., etc. Let's talk to Talk Radio royal correspondent Rupert Bell. Good morning, Rupert.
Good morning, Kevin.
I think this kind of events on this scale often have organisational problems in the run-up to the big day. But according to the Mirror, this is unusually chaotic.
Well, I think one of the things is the short time frame. Now, you may think that it's 7 months, between, from the death of the Queen and the funeral to the coronation. This is a huge logistical exercise. And actually, one of the things is actually the short time frame for it to happen and to happen smoothly. And they've got to cram all the rehearsals in. They've got to cram in actually what is happening in the service, because there are obviously little bits that you have to question about, as he is the defender of the faith, and how he's trying to incorporate other elements into the service. But then there is the practical things of how they're sorting out the rest of the coronation. So it will be quite interesting to see how it develops over the next few days.
It certainly will. I mean, there's been talk that Charles wants to turn his sort of de facto title into Defender of the Faiths, in the plural, that he wants to bring in other religions. This is multicultural Britain. But I'm afraid, our state religion is the Church of England. This will be a Church of England coronation. He can't have Buddhists and Muslims and and Sikhs taking a central role in this Church of England ceremony. I don't mean to seem old-fashioned, but them's the rules.
Yeah, and I think that is, but it's not to say that they can't turn up, if you see what I mean.
Of course not. No, of course they should be invited.
And in a prominent position, because that will reflect, and that is what the church are trying to battle with, because actually, as he is the head of the church, the Anglican Church, that is one of his roles as defender of the faith. And so therefore, it is a huge leap, almost constitutionally, to change it so dramatically. But of course, Britain has changed, so things have evolved. But actually, the essence of this is a Christian service. So that has to be maintained. And I'm sure that ultimately it will still have, predominant, all the relevant Christian messages will be there when he is crowned. But it is part of the problems that they're trying to resolve. They're trying to sort out the guest list. The procession is, again, okay, it's a shorter one, but it still has to be managed. And the way these things are done is they are rehearsed to a second. And obviously they're trying to make sure that they can fit in an hour and a half, they're saying, for the service, then the procession, how long it's all going to take, because things have to fit into piece. There may be a flight past or something. Everything is planned to the second, and that's what they're trying to sort out. And that's why this 7 months turnaround does seem, they had 18 months to do the last one. So it tells you that it was a very different set of circumstances. This is a slimmed down coronation, but all the same, it still needs to be rehearsed to every little detail to make sure it goes off without a hiccup.
Well, let's talk about a really rather large detail, and that is, and this is at the centre of why Russell Myers, the royal editor of the Daily Mirror, is suggesting that there is some chaos. It is the invitation to Harry and Meghan over there in Montecito, and the poor Charles and his acolytes still do not know whether or not the California couple will be attending.
Yeah, and you just mentioned it's rude. I think it is rude, because if you get asked somewhere, normally, if you get asked to a wedding, I know if I can go and planning to go to a wedding in September, you try and say yes, because that's what you do. You know there's the coronation. This date was announced a long time ago. Why does he not feel that he can just say yes or no? And that's the problem. Always wants to make a bit of a drama out of whatever he does, and so be seen to be creating a story rather than just getting on with it one way or another. And then if he says no now, then we know, or he says yes, then we can get used to the fact, whatever the decision is, and then we can continue with the build up to the coronation. Inevitably, when they turn up, there will be, it does annoy me, every body language expert going out there looking at between them. And to me, that kind of is irrelevant. What is relevant is how they are perceived, along with Andrew, how they manage that. And that is all part of the dynamics. And of course, we're hearing certain members of MPs' wives are unhappy they're not there. There's all sorts of squabbling going on behind the scenes. And I think, well, sorry, it's 2,000 people. They've got to try and get in as many people as possible. Then maybe the wives of MPs just accept it. You're not there.
You can't go. Get used to it. Listen, one very quick point. We haven't got long, Rupert, but there are suggestions that King Charles is trying to rehabilitate Prince Andrew. He was seen out walking with him the other day in Windsor, shoulder to shoulder, and I don't think a lot of people will like that if the King really does plan to welcome him back into the bosom of the family. In fact, I think I'm going to have to leave that hanging there, Rupert, because we've run out of time. We'll discuss that another time. That's Rupert Bell, the royal editor of Talk Radio.